Hey, mamas and entrepreneurs. I'm sure you felt like this before, or maybe I'm alone, but I feel like sometimes, both as a stay at home mom and as a professional, I've been in situations where I felt like I was stuck in a rut. Whether it was just because I was starting my stay at home journey as a new mom, or also in my professional career where I felt like I was in this unfulfilling job. And so I want to dive in today on how we can turn those things around really through self investment. And so if you're new to this podcast, I'm Anacani Walters, and today I'm basically sharing my journey and tips on how you can really make the most out of your time from a professional and personal growth standpoint. Welcome to Paddle Forward, the podcast where we navigate the currents of life, embracing motherhood, mindfulness, and the pursuit of your dreams. I'm Anacani Walters, your host, and I'm thrilled to embark on this journey with you. In each episode, I'll dive into insightful conversations, share inspiring stories, and explore practical strategies to help you unleash your creativity, find happiness within yourself, and navigate the beautiful but sometimes challenging waters of life. So grab your metaphorical paddle, grab your favorite oil, inhale the peace, exhale the chaos, and let's dive into today's episode. So today I want to really talk about just self-investment. And it's been something that I've been reflecting a lot on. I recently had a conversation with one of my coaches and mentors, and I just, we reflected on this moment, and I'm going to go into it more in depth later about just this mindset issue that we sometimes get to, especially when you come from a professional background, like especially like a medical background, things where, certifications and licensings are kind of, weighed heavily on, and how we use that to essentially create this mindset block on why investing into certain things like coaching and e-courses and things like that, um, we tend to devalue, I feel like. And so during my, first really year of motherhood, I, struggled. I was always the person that worked three jobs, like no joke. If you guys, well, many of you probably don't know me. There's a few people that probably do that, might listen to this podcast, who knew me back in my 20s. And I was working a full-time nursing job in a private surgical practice. And even maybe some of my coworkers didn't know at the time that I also was working part-time at one of the local hospitals as a secretary in the operating room on the weekends, working two 12-hour shifts. And then on top of that, I was also working part-time at nights as literally a bus girl in a bistro, wine and bistro shop. And I was working some days, depending on the time of the month. Sometimes I would literally not get a day off for 14 days because I would have to work my full 7 hours, my full 5 days a week at the practice. And then on the weekends, I would work my 2 hour shifts, my two 12-hour shifts. And then Monday would start back. And then I wouldn't really get that next break until the following Saturday and Sunday. And sometimes not even until Sunday, because Saturday I would sometimes work at the restaurant. And so I had a really hard time slowing down being a new mom. After I gave birth, we are living overseas. And so it was right after kind of the restrictions were starting to lift in other areas of the world. But here in Japan, they were not. They were very strict on who was allowed to come in, who was allowed to leave. So I didn't have any like family support. It was just my husband and I until he had to go back to work, and then it was just me. And it was hard because I had started to see some growth in my business right before I got pregnant. And I continued to work through my pregnancy. I continued teaching sup lessons until I was about I think 6 months is when I decided that my belly was big enough to where I didn't want to risk it. Um, and so I stopped teaching stand-up paddleboard lessons, but I continued to paddleboard myself until I was 8 months pregnant. And then I continued to teach yoga all the way up until my 8th month as well. Um, I created an online prenatal course during that time. And so I didn't necessarily stay like, you know, non-active during my pregnancy. I continued to, stay as active as I could. And because it was prenatal yoga, it was really good for me. And I listened to my body and, backed off when I needed to. But postpartum was a different story because I just started to feel like I was losing myself in the role of motherhood. I didn't have anything else feeling like was going for me. And so I started to try to find things. I started going back to my crafting. I rebirthed basically Crafty Fat Mermaids, where I started just going back to making greeting cards, and I learned about sublimation. And I really used that first basically 2 years of motherhood to, you know, especially during the times when my son was napping, yes, to do chores, but also to study. I started to sign up for e-courses and started to listen to podcasts. I started to do just a bunch of self-development work. I ended up earning my certification to become a master sup instructor during this time. I also took courses on becoming a women's circle facilitator, a women's wellness and life coach. I started an EFT training. I started studying for my fitness certification, and I got into kids yoga certification, and I was doing this all online. And then obviously the virtual, where it needed to be, where I needed to show up, whether it was a master class or it was an online training that required some in person virtually via the webcam to do like my practicals and stuff like that. And I even just started to listen to audio courses while I was walking my son in the stroller. And it was just about how can I continue to feel productive as I could while still being limited to kind of being a stay-at-home mom, and caring for myself, allowing myself that time to heal. And, there's this value of investment that I think is missed. And I just don't understand why self investment, just isn't something that is talked about often enough. Continuing to learn and grow, both whether it's professionally or personally, I feel is crucial. And so whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a professional and you're feeling unfulfilled at your job, it's a it has more to do about staying mentally active and preparing yourself for future opportunities. Like the economy is kind of shit right now, and so it would, if you're in a job that you're not happy with, like taking this time instead of binge watching Netflix or scrolling through social, which is like not great for your mental health anyways when you're already feeling down, is a great opportunity to self-invest into some courses of things that like you may want to do, so that when you ready, like when you're like, I can't do this anymore, and you're ready to jump ship, you have that backup plan. You've been building yourself in the background, maybe already starting your dream job, maybe already looking for a job, and you have something in line so that it's so much more freeing when you have to let go. One big hurdle is the misconception that investing in coaching programs isn't as valuable as traditional certifications. But I want to let you know that it's really not true. I've taken so many coaching programs in the last like 10 months, And I've learned sometimes more from them than some of the expensive certification programs I've actually paid thousands of dollars for. And so this balancing of motherhood and studying was challenging, but it was also rewarding for me. And it paid off both personally and professionally, because it helped me grow and stay motivated while I was at home taking care for my newborn and struggling to figure out what the hell I was doing because I was a first time mom. And I talk about this a lot, this misconception that because I was older, I was 40 when I gave birth, I, was a medical professional, I should already know instinctually what to do, which just made me feel more anxious and self, like I had a lot of like just negative thoughts about myself, postpartum is specifically because it made me feel like something was wrong with me. Like I totally did not get this mystical mother gene that everybody was making me feel like I was supposed to have. And it was like nothing prepared me. I actually did study for beyond the end game of just birthing. And so I started to do massive research. I started to download apps. I started to I reached out, because we're a military family, to new parent support. And I felt kind of weird because I was like, I feel like new parent support's for like 20-year-olds, but I don't care. I need y'all. And so I was having nurses come to the house like once a week to just kind of like let me bounce off any projections I was feeling about my own struggles as a first time mom and feeling like, I don't know, like this is what I've decided to do. This is what he's been doing. I don't know if I'm doing this right or if this was the right choice, but this is what I decided to do. And this has like been the outcome. And it was really nice just having somebody to just be like, you are doing amazing. Like, stop being so hard on yourself. And, it's overcoming these mental barriers that we're constantly creating, for ourselves, but some of them I feel like we also just face, both for moms and professionals. And these barriers really can be like daunting. For moms, it's this constant need to validate ourselves really through traditional certifications, not validating ourselves, just like you might have come from a professional background and now you're kind of just, we say just a stay-at-home mom, but if you are a stay-at-home mom, that shit is not like, that is a full-time job. Like, you're 100 different people. You're a nurse, you're a caretaker, a spa specialist, a chef, uh, a personal body builder, because you're carrying like all these pounds that just progressively gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You're a psychologist because you're trying to figure out like all their emotions and like how to help them deal with them. And you're a teacher because you're teaching them all these life skills. And then you discredit yourself completely because you're quote unquote just a stay-at-home mom and you don't have anything to show for it. You don't have certifications, you don't have a job, you don't have a paycheck. And that's really hard. For professionals, it's this discrediting coaching programs because they don't end with a certification of completion. And when you think about it, it's like in certain aspects of the medical field, if it's not a licensing, the certifications are kind of like it's hit and miss. You can go to some awful certification programs for like phlebotomy, clinical assistance, and things like that, and still can say you are licensed or certified to be these people, but you're shit. Like, you aren't very good at your job because the training that you went through was garbage. And so, we are willing to pay thousands of dollars for those shit programs because it ends in the certificate saying that you are certified to be this. But when it comes to like coaching programs and hiring somebody to like help you with anything from marketing, business development, learning how to run your own business, becoming a better speaker, learning to write better, learning how to use Excel, or, having better stage performance, being a better, being more professional or confident on camera because you want to start a YouTube channel or something like that. We completely just like disregard how impactful and amazing these programs can be because we're paying for them. And in our mind, we are not getting anything in return. And in fact, you're getting a shit ton of information and life skills that you're not going to really be able to get from other places. But because they don't give you a stupid piece of paper at the end of the training, it's like, nope, I'm not paying somebody to teach me that. I'll just learn for, waste my time trying to learn about it for free on the internet, where it's like, you have no idea whether the information that you're getting from these crazy, bunch of different resources are either going to confuse you, or they're not going to be consistent, or they may not even be like good advice, or valid. You don't have, like, people can just put out stuff on the internet and not even know what the hell they're talking about, FYI. And so I want to just get into some practical tips for really investing in yourself, whether it's professionally or personally, because, both are valid and both are needed. As a stay-at-home mom, finding time for self-investment, I really think is the trickiest. So utilize your nap times. Listen to audio courses when you're doing chores or walking with the stroller. No offense, but I just can't watch Speedy Diddy or Cocomelon, for the 100th time. I'm still there, present with my son during his little 30-minute, time on TV. But the other ear, I have my earbud listening to something that's actually going to help me, while he spends his time watching. In the midst of it, he really just wants me to be in the same room with him. And so every little bit helps. I don't care if you're only really able to get online to do a 10-minute of whatever course you decided to enroll in. That's how I got through all the courses that I've finished in the last 2 years. Like, literally anything from 10 minutes to an hour, whatever I could take, and just figuring out, like, okay, this is where I stop, this is what I got to do next. And like pre-planning, like the next day, okay, I need to do this homework, or I need to implement, because it's not just about learning, it's also about implementing and taking inspired action. And that's the thing, is where I've kind of tiptoed into that really, fine line of consumption versus consumption with action, because it's not going to help you to consume all this information if you're not going to do anything with it. And so at that point, you are improving your mindset. It's better than watching, some reality TV show, or scrolling through Instagram or whatever. But if you really want true results and life-changing, like, things to happen, you actually have to do some of the stuff that you're learning how to do. And so professionals, if you're in a job that sucks, that you hate, that you no longer wake up excited about, replace those unproductive habits like binging on Netflix and scrolling through social media with self-development activities. How many of us go to the lunchroom, eat our little lunch, and we're sitting there scrolling through social media, catching up on our 1 hour lunch? Like, stop that. Meditate. Listen to an audio course. Listen to a podcast. Like, read a book. There's so many amazing books out there. And I wish I would have been better about reading. But if you guys know my story, that was a struggle that I didn't even know I was dealing with, and why I didn't like to read, because I didn't know how to. But for those of you who have really good reading skills, take that shit. Don't take it for granted. Like, there's so many cool things. I'm reading right now a book from Jamie Kern Lima. It's Enough. It's her latest book, and the book by itself is beautiful. It's like sparkly and awesome. And I'm also reading Jim Quick's Limitless book. who I actually hired to be my brain coach. FYI. Yes, I have a brain coach because I am a slow reader and I have a really hard, no, that is not true. I'm not good at remembering people's names yet. And I am a slow reader, but I'm learning on how to improve it so that I can consume information faster. And it's not just about consuming, it's about understanding so that I can implement it. And that's why I hired my coach, Jim Quick. So shout out to Jim. I love you. Um, and so, yeah, there's, like I said, so I already mentioned Jim Quick. He's an amazing brain coach. I recently subscribed to Mind Valley, and they have a slew of courses from everything from dieting to personal development to meditation to nutrition to mindfulness. I'm doing a Qigong practice with them. It's fantastic. Leonie Dawson's Biz Life Academy is fabulous. Now, she is a cup of tea that if it's not your flavor, then keep on moving. She cusses a lot. She loves mermaids. She's an artist, and that's up all my alley. I actually do cuss a lot. I just don't do it as often, and especially now being a mom. And so I get like my cussing doses through listening to her. And she has a fabulous supportive community. Her courses are just like, she breaks it down to you like, I love her because I'm the type of person like, give it to me straight, no chaser. And she does give it to me with a little bit of cuss words, which is like just adding whipped cream to my shot glass. And then there's Zaylee Barclay's Brave on Video Coaching. She's got amazing courses. I spent like, I don't know, I've invested and bought like 12 of her courses. And it's really helped me with just my confidence overall, strategizing, figuring out. She's really was the first person to implant the seed of rebranding under my own personal name. And so she's fabulous. I will put the links to all of these coaches in the description notes of this podcast. And so, yeah, just create some type of manageable learning program that fits into your schedule. So the thing is that you just need to be consistent. And that's really about making the most time of what you have available. And so looking statistically, because that's what inspires me, that's what motivates me, is looking at success stories that really highlight the importance of self-development. And so it was really fascinating for me to learn that some of the most successful and wealthiest people often spend, and it's not about spending, it's about investing 10% of their income into self-development. And they literally set goals daily and they make reading part of their everyday routine. And these are really like key habits of success. And you will hear it when you start getting into this realm of self-development and personal development, like all of these habits, like you'll constantly hear all these people talking over and over and over about making sure that you're reading for 20 minutes a day, making sure that you have goals, making sure that you just write your New Year's resolutions and like forget about them, live your life, and then come December 31st, look at that list and be like, oh shit, I didn't accomplish none of this. This year sucked. Well, it's because you didn't look at them. Like you got to keep looking at them, and you can't just like sit there and wish for this stuff and some magical godmother is going to come and grant you it. You actually do need to put some work into it and do things, take action towards these goals and dreams. And that's what inspires success and, gets you what you really want, not just like, these are the things that I want, and they're just going to poof, magically happen in 12 months. And I'm not going to lie. I'm not putting you guys out there. If that's you, I was this person. And so it's just about changing. Today's a new day. And go back. If you made one, like you still have the half of a year left. Figure out what to do with that list of whatever you put on your your New Year's resolution from the current year, and make the most of the next 5-6 months and see how many of those you can knock off and make happen. You got this. I believe in you. CEOs and entrepreneurs, for example, a lot of them attribute their success to continuous learning. And personally, I've really transformed my life through self-investment. The coaching programs and courses I've taken have opened new doors and opportunities and really just allowed me to take my brand Anacani Walters, my brand Fat Mermaids, my brand Mindful Roots into like this whole another direction, and allowed me to really feel good about what I'm putting out there, and inspiring me and encouraging me to like wake up every day and really just like, okay, I may not feel like doing shit today. I'm super tired. I just don't have like the mental capacity, but I'm still going to show up for myself, because showing up for myself shows up for the people that I'm trying to serve. And let's just pick 3 things to make happen that are going to propel our business forward so that we can touch more lives and help more people. And that's basically how I see every day. So for some encouragement and motivation, keep going. Like, my journey with self-investment has just been transformative, and I have earned some certifications, but a lot of it has not resulted in certifications. It was just completing these courses, and the reward was gaining the confidence and the skills. And, if I can do it, you literally can do it. Don't let your mental barriers hold you back. Invest in yourself. Invest in becoming the best version of yourself and figuring out what you need to get to make you that person. The long-term benefits are super immenseful, and you're going to thank yourself, whether it's professionally or personally. My coach, Jim Quick, always says, knowledge is not power, it's potential power. Knowledge combined with action is power. So remember that when you take your first step today, investing in yourself and stepping into a better future, because it really is thinking about what you want, who you want to be, how you want your life to be, and then taking that first step of action. And again, it's not just about taking these online courses, but like, okay, I finished and I did like 10 courses. Awesome. But what did actually you do to implement the stuff that you learned? Who did you help with what you learned with? Who did you teach? Maybe shared with somebody. How did you implement what you learned into your life or your professional life? And so to recap today, self-investment is crucial, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or you're a professional and you're feeling stuck in a sucky job. Overcome your mental barriers and find time for professional growth in your life, because it's going to transform it. Start small with small things. Invest in coaching programs, and remember that the value of the coaching programs is not about the validation. It's about the continuous learning and making your mind stronger and your mind more resilient. And you're going to feel so much better in your mind and in your body, because where your mind goes, your body follows. Remember that. I encourage you to take the first step today towards self-investment. Sign up for a course, read a book, or set aside some time for some personal growth. I believe in you. You can do this. So I want to thank you for joining me on this episode of Paddle Forward Podcast. I hope you found inspiration, guidance, and practical tools to really navigate your journey with more mindfulness and purpose. Remember, no matter where you are in life, you do have the power to steer your own course. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe to Paddle Forward on your favorite podcast so that you never miss an episode. And if you'd like to support this show, I would so truly appreciate if you could leave a positive review and share it with your friends and loved ones. I'd love to hear from you too, so please connect with me on social media at Anacani Walters or at Fat Mermaids, and share your thoughts, questions, and suggestions for future episodes. Remember, every paddle stroke brings you closer to your dreams, so keep paddling forward, embrace the challenges, and embrace the beauty of the journey. Until next time, stay inspired, stay beautiful, and keep paddling forward.